right, let's see what it look like.
West Side City shit. I might got you. Peace, love, and light. Peace, love, and light. This is your brother Blue Pill Report live and direct. Welcome back to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. All right. This is your host, Brother Blue, and I will soon to be joined by my guest for the evening, our brother, your brother, KenBris. Okay. Hope all is well with you this particular evening. Had to work through some technical difficulties to get situated, but we are here. We are in the building. Couldn't get it popping on YouTube, but we took it over here to Facebook. All right. And we'll upload to the YouTube family after we conclude this particular episode. So with no further ado, because time has already elapsed, let me go and get my co-host or my guest for the evening out of the queue. All right. I'm gonna lead y'all to let me know how this audio is working. Okay. Peace, love, and light.
Yo, what up? What up? Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed, I can hear you. All
What's
right.
good, bro?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Audio coming in?
Coming in.
Okay. Let me change this name on this joint right here. All right. There we go. We're in the building. All right. You need your name renamed. You need you want your visuals popping. You good with
it don't matter, man. It's on you. It's all,
about? Nah, it's on you. It ain't on me.
I'm in the building. So
All right,
yeah. You could turn it on, man. It's all good.
All right, let me see what let's switch you to a panelist real quick. Promote to panelist. Boom. All right. There we go.
Yo.
There he is. We in the building.
What's goody?
All right. Had to work through some technical difficulties and just figure some things out. This series that we have been doing, Tough Talk Tuesday, has challenged us to be problem solvers in real time.
Right.
Every episode from the door. You came to this planet to be a problem solver, get to solving problems from the gate. You know what I'm saying? And it has been no exceptions. Every episode has been the same way. You dig what I'm saying? If you want it, you got to work through it. That's life. You feel me? With the nips, I'm proud to pay it forward. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm honored to have you as a friend, like my dude.
Good.
Black
Clarence.
Father.
Yeah, Clarence. Yeah, Clarence. Clarence is a problem.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Clarence is a problem.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to broadcast. I've been on the West Coast doing some things, moving around, and when I'm on a different time zone, man, shit is just different, bro.
Yeah. I feel you.
This is East Coast episodic. Because when I'm on the West Coast, I don't do my homework or nothing. Like,
yeah. So this the 11th joint though, right?
It's the 11th joint on the 11th day, and we still managed to get it popping in the 11th hour.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we got our 11 situated. I know the family might be sitting over there on YouTube wondering where we're at, but again, family, this will be uploaded, so you'll get to indulge during lunch and during your daily activities throughout the day tomorrow. All right.
Right.
Let's go with the guard though.
Man, I'm good, man. I'm hyped and charged, ready to go, ready to get it. A lot. So what was 2
Been a
weeks
lot
ago?
going on in the world, man.
Yes, sir. So wherever you want to pick up, we could go blast off.
I've been an avid listener to your, Black Lives that have been told to me.
Oh yeah, that clap back, yeah. That horror show.
You know,
Yeah,
when you say horror show, it
yeah.
reminds me of a conversation that was taking place on my timeline last week. And I was dealing with the Netflix series When They See Us.
Right.
Um, Initially last week, I protested watching it. I was on a total different vibration out west. I said,
Hmm.
"Look, I don't want to, you know what I mean." People were saying it was a horror show.
Yeah.
They were recounting the terror. I lived through that episode. You feel
Uh,
me?
yeah.
More than just lived through it, I was actually wilding at the time. You dig
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I was part of a rat pack and we was going into the city and we were doing them things that them young men were accused of outside of the rape. I'm just talking about beating up on crackers and digging their pockets and everything, cutting people in the face and just totally wilding.
Hmm.
Um, so that shit hit close to home, and then people started going up north.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And it even hit closer to home. You know, um, but it was suggested of me by a friend, a very close friend who I trust, who has an appreciation of art the same way that I do.
Hmm.
He said, look at it for its artistic value. He said,
Hmm.
look at it for its artistic value and watch the way that Ava captured the era.
She got her Spike Lee on a little bit in there too.
She body spike.
Um,
She body spike.
I mean, she was off one time in terms of some music soundtrack, but overall, in terms of the art, she
She,
ki- she got her camera angles on.
she got
She
her
killed.
camera, her cinematography was there. She put a millennial touch on a 80s, 90s story in a way
Totally.
in which I have not seen Spike capture in a long time. He has not gone back into that bag in a long
Right.
time, my
Right.
dude. You feel me? That
Right.
shit felt like New York.
Yeah, she killed
Spike,
it. She
Spike
killed
has
that part.
Spike has done shit in New York that has not felt like New York. You dig what
Hmm.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So her cinematography, storytelling, she killed that. That last episode with Corey, and then that shit hit double close to home because out of all of them, I met Yusef. I seen all of them brothers. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? At one point or another, but Corey be on the block with us.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
He be on the block. Like you can see him on 2/5 damn near all the time.
Hmm.
I didn't know the depths of his story. You know what I mean? So when I was able to peek into his shit and was like, ooh, and that actor, he was bringing out those elements that, it was just like,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah, he killed it.
he killed it. He killed it. You know what I'm saying? He killed it. Um, what's your thoughts, overall on the fact that people were identifying it as a horror story? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that our people are too delicate to deal with the reality of a situation that I would say, one, some of these children, a lot of children have been targeted, you know what I'm saying, through the 80s and the 90s. But then, like I said, there was a participatory aspect of it, especially in my generation, where we was dumbing out and we did fill up those prisons. You dig what I'm saying? And it's
Mhm.
like a lot of these women's children are being prepared for the same thing by way of the culture, but they see the shit cinematically and they like, yo, this is a horror story.
Mhm. So what's the question though?
What is your thoughts, you know what I'm saying, on people identifying it as a horror story? Is it responsible enough to not be able to deal with it, but at the same time, not confront the culture? Because these babies to this day is being lined up for that experience that young Corey went through. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it was a horror story on a few levels. It was a horror story. It was horrific. But let me start backwards and go frontwards. Um, I heard a lot of different commentary on it and a lot of commentary about that film, about that documentary. A lot of black guys in particular say, you know what, that could be me, right? That could be my son. That could be guys that I know. And I find that very interesting because when a black man gets married, dudes don't be like, that could be me. When you see Jay-Z get 1 billion, you don't be like, that could be me, right? When you see it, dude, he's taking pictures, he's, maybe he's on a retreat somewhere. They be like, people like, oh, that's what's up. Don't nobody say the sentiment is not that could be me, right? That's interesting to me. That if he if a if I'm going through harsh things, it's that could be me.
Trauma.
But if I'm catching a dub, that's not me, right? That's weird, right? So I find that odd because let's be honest though, if we are a nation of 300 million, the probability of that being you is low. It's other things that can happen to you before that happens. Out of 300 million people in so-called America, the probability of that happening to you is low.
Facts. I
It's
mean,
like a plane crash. The probability of that happening to you is extremely, now anything could happen, of course, right? But I don't think we understand how much people 45 million is, right? So, people say, yo, this is what they're doing to our people. How do you even know that? Like, where would you get the memo that this is happening? How many, the average person, Blue, hasn't met 10,000 people in their life? I mean, actual hands and names. 10,000. They say it's 45 million of us. That means if you're standing on the stage, that the people will go beyond where your eye can see. You feel me? So, me personally, when I was watching that film, I didn't feel like that could happen to me. Anything could happen to me, right? But I also feel like when I see somebody prospering and winning, I relate to that too, though. I say that could happen to me. You know what I mean? So but the story overall, it is horrific. And let me tell you why it is horrific, because advocacy. All right. So this is about like social credit. So if usually if an African American does something to someone white, automatically you think you're about to get the worst punishment ever, because you're looking at their life that they have advocacy, the laws behind them, histories behind them, the police is behind them. So it's advocacy, right? So for the Black American male specifically, there's no advocacy, meaning that I can handle these people any way I want and they're not going to do shit about it. There's no advocacy. Yeah, they'll if listen, this is the thing, Blue. If Al Sharpton is the worst that can happen to people, you'll take your chances, right?
fact.
That's, you know what I mean. This is the representative, or Benjamin Crumb. This is the representative,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're not tripping off that, right? You'll take your chances. But
Right. Same way, they was characterizing in that docu series about Slam Dunk. When they was characterizing the
it's a
lawyer.
slam dunk case.
Right. It's like, oh, let's line this shit up. What's our competition? Slam
It's a
Dunk.
it's a slam dunk case.
It's the same thing. They're like, oh, what are these niggas gonna do? They're gonna march. They're gonna get Al. You know what I mean? They're gonna get a settlement.
It's a slam dunk case, bro. They're poor and black. It's a slam dunk case. And of course, the response is going to be an emotional response. It's a slam dunk. What are they going to do? That's the thing. And who is going to speak on their behalf? It's advocacy. So that's one thing. So the way that you build advocacy, the way that you get advocacy is, okay, the topic that we've been talking on for 8 weeks is through grace and favor. That means that you carry yourself out in the world at a high level. So that means that when people do something to you, there's immediate there's immediate response, right? It's like you and I just can't shoot a bald eagle right now.
Right.
We can't kill a rhino right now. We can't kill an elephant right now. There is consequences for that,
We can.
right? Yeah, we can't, right? So what I'm saying is social credit. So niggas can't look shot out outside in public because what that does is create social credit. So since we're this one big group and we all speak for each other, then everybody got whatever you do in your crib, that's your business. That's your right. But outside, you have to carry yourself a certain type of way so that if something happens to you, the people that did something to you, if they're from another group, they already know, damn, those people have value on their life.
Because what do they do immediately? They start devaluing your social credit by bringing up past crimes.
Yeah.
This person comes from, they will insinuate that you come from a household that's not a complete one, that's broken, right?
Right.
Even while
Right.
in court, they ask, does this person have community ties, right? Does the person have community ties? Are they a pillar to the community? They want to know who is going to stand up for you and add to your social credit. Because if there's nobody willing to stand for you for your social credit, then the understanding, and this is bullpen therapy, you understand this by being in a cage. Look, they're about to motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, run you through the ringer because no one is none the wiser. You're not going to press the phone. You can't get, like you said, social advocacy is not going to come to your rescue. I remember I had an incident when I was incarcerated, and I had a confrontation with the sheriff, and everybody in that facility was like, yo, that's the last person that you want to confront. It was during Ramadan, and he would not, under his supervision, wouldn't allow me to eat with a later group, right? He was attempting to force me to eat with my group, and my group ate during, when the sun was out. And I'm like, nah, I can't do that. I got to eat with the later group. But the later group was work release. So he's like, inmates can't interact with work release inmates, you know what I'm saying? Because they'll pass whatever he was trying to insinuate. So he was on some like, fuck your religion. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, what? So I went, because we had a payphone in the joint, in the part of the facility that I was in, and I called the Islamic Center in Washington, D.C., right? Then I called the Washington Post, and I created advocacy on my behalf. This motherfucker came into my cell a few days afterwards and apologized to me with a, a beat a red beat face, like, yo, I apologize, I'm sorry, I didn't know, I learned so much more about Islam afterwards. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
None of that would have happened if I wasn't able to increase my social credit by way of social advocacy. And this nigga had the nerve to tell me, and I didn't even understand where he was going at the time. He said, you're an inmate, you don't have rights, you lost on that. It's like, what? This was 96, 97. Like, I didn't even quite get the 13th Amendment or none of that shit. So I was like, what? You bugging. Let me call these folks on you. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that he, in 1,000 years, would have figured that I'd have went back door like that. You know what I mean? But without that, like you said, without that advocacy, I'd have been in between a rock and a hard place. So yeah.
Well, we give up our advocacy through how we behave. Because who wants to stand next to who wants and why is it there's a certain narrative always attached to us? It's so easy to attach the animal narrative to us. How is that possible? Now, the thing about it is, okay, yeah, I understand confirmation bias, but what ask myself, is there any truth into any of this shit? Because how can you tell me that a particular thing keeps happening to a group of people? That means upon arrival, you have this debt on you. And as soon as you come into the world, people is just handling you a certain type of way. And our experience here is super comfortable. That means there's something on the group. It's something on you. How is it that time after time again, these people that look like them seem to be in situations and circumstances that don't favor them? And then the things that get attached are always animal, monkey, right?
I think
Right.
that's playing into artificial construct. If if they're utilizing a playbook that came from Gobbles and the rest of them that says what, if I can dehumanize you through propaganda in the public spectrum, I can do whatever I want because the people are no longer going to give you the social credit necessary to come to your rescue. So that propaganda or those seeds have been planted since cartoons. You know
But why is it so easy to dehumanize though? Why is it
my thing
ever
is this,
hard work
I'm
though?
explaining to you
Okay.
because if you come from an area, it's the same thing, to say be used to beat that case in terms of the gorilla and the polar bear. So you're already identified with a habitat that is one in which is a jungle, one in which is where animals reside. That's where they're saying that you came from. So they're showing the children at a very early age through um through all of the cartoons. Like, look, these people are synonymous with an animal archetype, and then they put someone such as a Tarzan in that environment and shows him conquering those elements, right?
Hmm.
We explain what made the European that conquered the frontier so revered, in particular later on in terms of his emanation as the cowboy, because he conquered tribalism,
Hmm.
conquered the terrain, and he conquered the theos, which can be found in nature. So those three elements, right, is what normally the European coming out of a situation should have been fearful and scared of. They said you went into the frontier, you conquered the terrain. You know what I'm saying? You conquered the tribes, right? These savage Indians, and you conquered their God. Okay. What's better than that? You understand? So if they're able to formulate that, then it has to be something that's already presented in terms of a threat that that individual has to be able to conquer. So how can you be adversarial? You have to be painted with a brush that's adversarial, right? But then you put into this artificial construct, namely a city, right? A cosmopolitan city, not knowing the rules of this particular terrain. They call it the concrete jungle, but how do you navigate it? You know what I'm saying? How do you navigate it? Even to the degree where they showed you, even in this particular docu-series, when the children got into the park, there was something to me, what I was able to see. I was like, damn, they're in their natural habitat. Look how they were spread out. Look how they, you know what I mean? Kind of like now they was, they was doing what children do. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I understood the quiet analogy. I understood the silent narrative. I was like, damn, they look like they're a little bit more at home in somewhere they could stretch out. You feel me? Than this artificial construct, sidewalks and apartments and city streets and shit like that. That's just what I saw. So it's not, in someone's eyes that's already looking at you like an animal. It's not a hard characterization at the end of the day.
But it's an easy characterization
I
though.
said it's not a hard one. It's not a
Yeah.
hard characterization. It's easy. It fits. They say that you come from a place where you were swinging on trees. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Acting like animals with the animal, one with the animals and shit like that.
Right.
You feel me? You an African booty scratcher.
Right.
Those are your people. They're not,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So it's an easy characterization at the end of the day. They called you a beast of burden when you was on them fields. You know what I'm saying? Picking cotton. You know what I mean? Look at Jack Johnson. Look at King Kong. Look at LeBron and all of the characterizations. So these are the silent narratives that get passed down from generation to generation, and that narrative never changes because it's never challenged.
Sheik Luch got an album called Silverback Gorilla.
It's an easy sell.
So, okay, so the thing about it is how bad are the people rejecting that shit? Again, why is it so easy? Like it's not really they don't even break up a sweat. So what are the people
Got
doing?
a whole situation called Guerrilla Unit.
That's my yeah, you know what I'm
love
saying?
that shit, and
We love that shit.
it made all the sense in the world.
Love that shit.
It's
So
not a narrative. You didn't even have to establish it for it to be sold. That's what I'm talking about.
the thing about it is, on a day-to-day basis, what do the people do to wiggle up out of the matrix on a day-to-day? It got like, yo, okay, how
My thing is, you don't wiggle out of it. You figure out how to use it to your benefit. At the end of the day, you're not going to come up from underneath that characterization. You know what I'm saying? And at the cost of what? At the cost of what?
No, you do wig. You can wiggle out of it because it's mad levels of the matrix. You got narrative matrix, you got financial matrix, you got this type of matrix, that type of matrix. These are narratives. It was easy to sell the story of the Central Park Five because of narratives. They're already animals. In The Godfather, when they was talking about, the families was about to get into dope.
Yeah,
They said, give it to the blacks. They're already animals.
They're the animals.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, all right, these people got their propaganda, but it's hard to stand when the people that believe the propaganda meet these people and they're nothing like that. Are the people exactly like the fucking propaganda?
Look, we was talking about this the other day. You know what I'm saying? In the interviews with Idris, I was out in Cali with 19 Keys, and no, this wasn't the interview with Idris. This was the interview with Zoe Williams. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here name dropping and shit on you, but we was in an interview with Zoe Williams, and he was speaking about the the narrative around the angry black man, right? So they were speaking about Obama. They was using him as an archetype to have this discussion, right? And on the way back to Atlanta, I was looking at Glass last night, the movie with Samuel and Bruce Willis, and they have a character in there called the Beast, and he reminded me of David Banner and the Hulk.
Yeah.
Right. So the Hulk is, based on a melanated character. If you saw the first Hulk, you would understand that he was converted by them gamma raying of melanated women's cells. Right. He represents a saw in its unbridled form. Okay. Or the erect penis. So the notion is always that no matter how civilized you come across as being, no matter how well kept together you are, the threat of the beast coming to the surface is always going to be present. It's always going to be a threat. So the angry black man is like, okay, he can be a Harvard graduate like Obama, presidential, family man, well spoken, soft spoken. But if this nigga ever raises his voice, right, he's going to clear the room because the threat always exists. That anger, that beast, that is synonymous with your very being, right? Because this man is half African. His people from Kenya. So, you know what I mean? They're already characterizing him and calling him a monkey, saying he's married to one as well. That's not going nowhere. You can act as motherfucking well behaved as you want to be. You could be as well manicured and put together as you want to be. They're not gonna erase that out of nobody's mind. No
Mhm.
matter, Hillary could be standing next to him, or whoever positioned themselves as a proponent of his presidency, and in the back of their mind, they still thinking this shit. I hope this nigga don't lose his motherfucking calm and let that nigga come out.
Well, but there's truth in that, and then there's not too, because when I read you the story of Anton Dumoulin from the Revolutionary War, and when you look how he was handled, this the thing, you can't change someone's mind, right? People gonna think how they think, but what I'm talking about, probability, all right, probability.
You don't have to live up to it. Obama didn't live up to it.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, and
He defied the odds.
in American history, I'm talking outside of media. In American history, he's an icon. Okay, he's an icon. So, but what I'm saying is social credit. Social credit. 9 times out of 10, the people that think that way about certain people, they're not really well traveled or well read. They
Fact.
don't know. They don't know that much. So I don't want to give them. I don't want to. I don't want to make it seem like they are the norm. They're stuck in their box too, and they believe a certain type of propaganda as well. They're not that educated at all neither. And most of the time they're on the poor side. But because of social media and things like that, you, they're on the poor side most likely. And
Bro,
uh,
once again, I just came from Hollywood, right?
mhm,
I was in them circles around them folks. They got, you know what I mean, considerable deep pockets.
mhm,
I remember when I first got to LA, right? And somebody, a friend of mine from New York came and got me, and he was like, yo, that angry black man shit, that shit don't play too well out here. Like, you gotta smile. I was like, what? What the fuck is you talking about? He was like, yo, these people gotta see your teeth. He's like,
right,
these people gotta see your teeth. Like, you gotta leave that angry Harlem shit in New York. Like, don't play
right.
that out here. So I've been in situations around these people, and
But
they
you don't have to. Okay, but this the
hold on,
thing
hold
though.
on, hold on,
It's
hold on.
politics.
Hold on, it's politics. I've been in them situations around them people on repeated occasions on both coasts. That shit does not motherfucking only be relegated to crackers that is quote unquote poor. Like, Europeans with money feel the same way. They waiting and they looking. You know what I mean? They looking to see if you're gonna raise your tone. They are paying. They are laying plays for you to see how you respond. In particular, to see what your characterization is. If anybody, they the ones pulling them plays. The ones at the bottom is not the ones pulling the plays. The ones at the bottom, they just sitting there in fear. But the ones at top, they want to really, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, and they have politics amongst themselves within class too. But this the thing. You don't have to play the game. Don't play the game. Don't play the game. If the game is you got to see some teeth for you to get where you got to go, you don't have to. Don't play the game.
Oh,
There's choice, right? Don't play the game.
I ain't played the game.
But everybody's playing a game though. So for you and I, it might be, yo, I gotta shake the angry black man shit. For another person, he's dealing with Anglo-Saxon and he's Jewish. They gotta play a game. Or someone else is Italian and they gotta play a game. Or a Japanese is playing a game with the Chinese.
Yo,
A North Korean playing
that's
the
that's
game.
that's all, and I'm an observer more than I am a game player. So I'm sitting back watching everybody play their game out there. Everybody's
Game.
playing the game, just like you said. Those
Game.
social interactions are all based on preconceived notions and
Totally.
stereotypes of those people's archetypes. So, like you said, the Jews got to play the games around the Wasp. The Wasps got to play the
For
games
the
around the
game.
Protestants.
Game.
You
It's
feel
the
me?
game. It's
Protestants playing games around the Jews. You know what I mean? So everybody's role playing, everybody's playing these games. And at the center of those games are the preconceived notions of who those people are based on established stereotypes.
totally. It's truth in them shits though.
somewhat.
It's true for them.
I mean, everybody doesn't fall into that.
No, I mean, but if 3 million people do something and you're amongst the 3 million, it's true like a motherfucker.
Bruh, what if it's true for all 3 million of them, but not for you? Is that not you holding true to what your standards are to say, look, that ain't me? There was something about Clarence Avant that was not true to the narrative that was laid out for everybody else. Would you say that?
Totally. He's an outlier.
He's an outlier.
Right. But what one thing was true was every low income area that I lived in, I couldn't leave my bike outside. That was true. No matter where it was, whether I lived in New York or whether I lived in Baltimore, that was
Right.
true.
So it's true for Bensonhurst as well as it's true for Bushwick. So you couldn't do that around Italian lower income areas either. You couldn't do it in Jewish lower income areas either.
I said low income. Yeah, I didn't say black. I said low income.
You didn't.
I said low income. That's true. Right.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is there's truth in stereotypes. You know what I'm saying? It's just exaggerated for propaganda purposes to sell newspapers and movies and television shows. So it's exaggerated, but there is truth to that shit. But the thing about the gist of the Central Park Five when I was watching it was so much shit going on. A lot of people made it, oh, look what's happening to these black males. I was like, no, look what's happening to these poor people. Look what happened to these poor people, because that situation actually didn't have to go the way it did. Let's be clear.
No. I walked away saying, yo, I could never have children and be poor. Like
when I was watching this, let's take Corey Wise's mom. She had another baby. Why? I'm gonna say something that's it's meant to sting. I have one kid. Why do poor people keep having children? No, let it swirl. What's the expectation? I'm having this child. Why? If I read a story of a mother that lost 5 sons in Chicago in the street. 5. Why would you continuously have children? So you're having these children, the father too, with the expectation of what exactly? Bro. So when we look at Corey Wise's mother, she was trapping out the crib.
Yeah.
Now somebody could, you didn't have to have children. Why do people think the earth needs people? The earth is not begging nobody to boost the fucking birth rate up. All right. So if we know that we on the bottom and people openly admit that the system is rigged, this is what they say. They openly say that America's not, well, I'm talking black in particular, America's not for us, systematic oppression, all these things. If people really believe this, then that's a form of child abuse for you to give birth, because you already have a belief that the system is against you. You already have belief that it's systematic oppression. You already have belief that no matter what, blacks as a whole is not going to get over the hump. These are the hardcore beliefs. You telling me about white supremacy? These are the hardcore beliefs. Fine, I'm with you. That's cool. Why are you having kids? Just be dolo. How is that not a form of child abuse? Because every single thing that happened to those children was a byproduct of what was going on with their parents. Oh. You don't believe me? Let's go down the list. Antron. Now, I heard somebody on their podcast sympathize with Antron's dad. Oh, that's just what black men go through. Why his daddy just can't be a sucker?
Yeah, he was a coward. He was a coward.
Why? What's the sympathy? Why he just can't be a sucker? Because guess what? This is the funny thing. He left the family and came back, and the mother still had the crib. So that's telling me that punk ass job that he was riding for, the mama still held it down without him. He came right back to that same house.
Facts.
So that good job that he was talking about, let's be clear, that shit was 625, some shit like that at that particular time. That nigga was making $1,200 a month.
Yeah, he was a parking lot attendee.
Yeah. So that didn't that
I
that
mean,
that that has nothing to do with the system. Because when I watched it with my son and I had to pause it and I looked dead at him and I was like, yo, by the way, let's be clear. Under no circumstances am I leaving you hanging. Not for no money, not for no punk ass job, none of that shit. We going platinum. Told my son that when he was watching it. Like, let's be clear. All right. So that has nothing to do with the system.
right.
Period.
I mean, but let me ask you,
Shoot.
were you in similar situations, or did you know individuals in similar situations where when shit got kind of tricky, did the father slid?
I'm a father.
Right.
I've been in trouble before. I caught a case in 2009. I got a 14-year suspended sentence. What that means is I have 5 years probation and a 14-year suspended sentence. So I did a year on bail, then I did a year in jail, and then I came out with a 14-year suspended sentence. What that means, if I would have caught a case while having this 14-year suspended sentence, I would have did the 14. Right? I took a bad deal, but I didn't have to take a bad deal. I could have told on somebody. I didn't have to take that. I was doing time way away from my home in Missouri somewhere by my motherfucking self. I didn't have to go out like that. I could have set up a whole goddamn sting operation. Fuck that shit, nigga. It's jail. It's uncomfortable, but what does it keep you from? Your desires. That's all it does. You can't do your desires. That's it. Right? I had a kid. I'm not going out like that. And this is the thing. This is the first 48 hours in the precinct. The whether we don't like American system or not, I have the right to remain silent. Period.
You know that.
Okay. So just the
Did you
thing.
know that at 12 or 13?
Huh?
Did you
No,
know
it would
that?
no, it was my mother's job to tell me that. She didn't tell me that. See that again, why you having children? Because this is the thing. If we was in the jungle, you would have to prep your children for everything that goes on in the jungle. What the hell do people be doing? And then when something happens, we want to talk about the system. Don't have a child if you're not going to feed them. Don't have a child if you're not going to teach them. Don't have a child if you're not going to educate them in the ways of the world and how to maneuver. Don't have a child. Okay, so that's his daddy. The Spanish daddy, he was a sucker too. You see what his son came home to? Oh, I gotta work. He let his son say, Dad, I took a deal. I got this. The kid is 14, talking to the daddy like that. So you have a documentary about boy fathers. This is a conversation about daddies. Now, this is the thing. I
People
thought
going off.
I thought men was logical. I thought men was leaders. Where was the leadership? Where's the logic? Both fathers put their sons in fucked up positions. Now
For
let's
jobs.
for jobs. Now let's go to Yusuf. Blair Underwood was her attorney in divorce court, I believe.
He was a divorce court attorney, right?
Yeah, and I think he serviced her, right? For Yusuf's dad. Now you see the potential. You see what can happen during a divorce. Where's his father? See, this is what you risk when you have a baby with someone and you leave, or y'all don't work it out because of feelings. I don't love you no more. It's just not about that, right? Every single thing that happened with those children, I can look at their fucking parents. Every single thing, everything, everything. We don't like that because it deals with accountability. But Yusuf is a product of divorce because Blair Underwood said she was his client before. So that means he was married. So now I have to ask, when this was going on, Where's his daddy? Now, if he's dead, okay, fine. Where's his daddy? Let's go on to Kevin Wise mama. I mean Corey Wise mama.
Right.
She's pregnant, she's trapping out the crib, all type of shit. Where's his father? Right? Where's his father? You see what's going on here, and then they have these issues with their children.
Yeah, then
And
the young boy, the little young boy that had all of the sisters and the aunties and all of them.
how's that the system? Because technically, the police did exactly what they were supposed to do. So did the prosecutor. They work for the state. They don't work for the people. They did what they're supposed to do. Now, how do the people respond to that? So the horror is yet again, how come the same shit keeps happening to the same people? What are you doing when it's not happening? Now, let's go into the wilding part. They was 14 years old. None of them was supposed to be where they was, technically. Technically. Eh, check this out. Look, check this out. Eh, look, because I'm all about accountability. Hold on, time out. Every day when I when I pick my son up from school and I'm driving through the DC streets, I see group of boys just hanging out. Now they're 13, 14, 15. Now this is directly after school. They are doing absolutely positively nothing. Now, when you put any group of males together, eventually something is going to occur. It's just fucking what it is. White males, black males, Arab males, it don't matter. But this is directly after school. How come those boys don't got shit going on? I ran with people. Me and my friends, we did that same shit and we always got in the dumb shit. We was always in a not unfortunate situation. Yo, if you got a male child, if your male child is not at football practice, basketball practice, if he's not somewhere, what is he doing in the streets? Period. What's your expectation? Don't have them.
You know what? I mean, as a generation, yourself, myself, my brothers, people in our age demographic and younger, we know better because this is what we lived through. So we're very mindful of what 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old children do in packs.
Hmm.
I don't really know if my parents were per se. You know what I'm saying? And this was the latchkey generation. So
Right. That's true.
we didn't have cell phones. You dig what I'm saying? The dirt that I did,
Hmm.
that shit was on the way home from school.
Right. You're
So
right.
and some of it,
Right.
when we really went wilding, that was on
Mhm.
Halloween. We would go
Yeah.
100 deep into the city and terrorize the city. That wasn't an everyday thing. That was
Mhm.
on Fridays and for particular days that we was grouping together. Other than that, by 10 o'clock or 9, something like, I'm in the crib because I got homework to do. The parents is home by that time. And if
Mhm.
we're not home, there's an understanding that either we're doing something extracurricular,
Mhm.
like you said, something athletic, or something
Mhm.
school related. You know what I'm saying? I come from a household where my father's an English professor. So he's busy teaching them people, getting home when he get home. Education is always at the forefront.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
still completing my grades. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? But I got a book bag full of polo sweaters that they don't know nothing about. I was getting my work done quick, get in and out of them stores,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Disciplined enough to take my rec home. I'm not going to Franklin Ave, you know what I'm saying, to do the
Mhm.
shit other niggas was doing, showing off my goods. No, that's coming to school with me. So I was disciplined enough to lead that double life. You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, I understand the energy that pulls and compels children to run in packs. 9:30, 10 o'clock. I remember being in the crib like, damn, I wish I could be outside with the homies because it's 9:30 and you can hear that they still outside. A lot of children was like that because they were part of the last key generation where their parents was working 2 jobs. They come from single parent households, majority of them. So they people ain't getting home until after 10. They already did their dirt, right? Shorty they got a train ran on her. You know what I'm saying? Cleaned
Right.
up in time for mama to come home.
Mm-hmm.
Niggas already cut up the work and juggled it.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that goes to like there was legions of niggas my age that was working shifts in the crack house where these was overnight shifts where they got out at 7 or 8 in the morning. So
Mm-hmm.
where was their parents at? Right? This is shit that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it don't take but so many of them to break from the pack and then show their peers what the benefits are from being, a social misfit to say, well, my mama don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this motherfucking this overnight shift just in the trap from 12 to 9, 12 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
Look at my knot. Because I remember when we would come out in the morning to go to school at 8:30 and 9. These niggas was at the spot treating everybody to breakfast with knots like this.
Mm-hmm.
And you going to school, nigga got 3,500 in his pocket that he made overnight.
Mm-hmm.
What is that doing to the mind of a child? You
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out how can I get in? How can I get
Totally.
in?
Totally.
So, I mean, a lot of those, those displays led to people making all sorts of decisions where motherfuckers would start arguments at home to get kicked out. You know what? I'm out of here.
Right.
Yeah. Nigga be right in the trap.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, I see
That
my.
has nothing, and that has nothing to do with the system, though. Actually, though, that's
Oh,
not the system.
that's you preparing yourself to motherfucking hit the system, hit the brick wall of the system, and then you not gonna knock it down, it's gonna knock you down. So all of these young niggas went to Sparford and DFY and all of that. These were the people that made up those population. And some of them now to this day are the ones that's career criminals up north doing 15 and 20 years.
Yeah, and again, that's not the system. That's a self-control issue. See, the thing about it is,
It
what's the
was there.
pri?
It was a decision that was made. The system is prepared and designed to receive your ass. They got a bed waiting for you
What
right now, and that's a business.
the the primary teaching tool for, let's say, Black America has been for the last 150 years the Black church. Okay. So this is where you'll learn finances. This is where you'll learn agriculture. This is where you'll learn self-control. This is where you'll learn about the seven liberal arts. This is where you'll learn about all those kind of things, right? So it was the church's job to make sure those boys got something to do at night. The reason why I say that is because that's where the community's money is seeded into. So you could kind of classify that as like like state sanctioned funding, because the money that is seeding into that institution, I don't want to say should, because should is things that I want to be true. That's not true, right? Um, the church would be the place that these boys, man, at 15, you got hella energy, your testosterone booming. You know what I'm saying? You might want to go outside and wow. Okay, how do we channel that? Wow. Yo, let's go to the church. They got the basketball court in the back. They got the boxing gloves in the back. They got the gym in the back. Because I don't care what male group of males it is, a, a, a group of 5 to 10 males is trouble. It just is. If you can't channel that shit, right? So those boys didn't get failed by the system. The system, that's what it does. It's for people that can afford to do crime, right? Those boys was failed by the people. Those boys was failed by their community. Like most of these boys and most of these girls. They were failed by their village because they was born to a group that's unlucky. So they have the shit that they're a byproduct of, being unlucky. That so the people did them a disservice. Because guess what? If everybody thought it was unfair, at the end of the day, anarchy is still an option. Everybody went to work the next day, right? Yeah. All right then. So okay,
Could have been that bad, right?
it can't have been that bad. You ain't that mad. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You're not. I mean, people still not that mad. You ain't that mad. You gonna go to work tomorrow, and I don't blame you. It's good talking points. You know what I'm saying? It's good outrage, but don't nobody care. Don't nobody care enough to make changes. Don't nobody care enough to be like, you know what? We about to become police officers
Or prosecutors.
or prosecutors or judges. Don't nobody care that much. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody. Oh, because let's be clear. When I say everybody failed them, correct me if I'm wrong, but some black COs was treating Corey fucked up. A black CO was talking to Raymond father greasy. Black inmates beat the shit out of Corey. And it was a white woman and a white man that got him out of jail at the end of the movie. So what the fuck? That white woman didn't have to jump on that case. What the fuck? The thing about it is, Blue, being poor is trash. Everybody gonna have dibs on your life. I seen Corey get abused by a black CO, black inmates. Shit didn't matter. And it was black people on the jury. Black cops was talking to them, their family crazy. Shit don't matter. it, 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 it,
They got snatched up in the park by black police.
bruh. This so when we go into the details, the, when we go into the details, uh, I heard somebody say, "Oh, those boys got they got the DNA of all black men." I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, wow, what those boys that was a tragedy, but the people failed them. But that is not the DNA of all black men, as if that is our fucking purpose, man, to go through bullshit like that. And that's the narrative of everybody. Oh, what we go through in this country. What do niggas think everybody goes through? Like cancer is exclusive. Like foreclosure is exclusive to black people. Having no money is exclusive to black people. The average American doesn't have $500 savings, and the average American is white. So when we say what we go through and compared to who, compared to who, we have this narrative on us. And again, this is why shit happens like this, because we're already going outside with a narrative like that on us from the gate. We automatically believe we're unlucky. If you follow Hebrew Israelite doctrine, we're the cursed people. He's like, you got people walking around believing, yes, we did something to deserve this. Like, oh
Right.
wow.
Which reminds me, I gotta do this shameless plug. June 30th in Atlanta, Georgia, I am bringing A.A. Rashid, Raku, and Aquarius Maximus to Wadada ATL. That's 878 Ralph David Abernathy for a lecture called The Universe is Conspiring. We are going to dismiss and put in a casket and float down the Nile once and for all this notion that we are cursed people based on
Please.
the biblical narrative of Ham. We're going to body
Mm,
that, we're going
mm,
to quarter it, we're going to scatter it to all four corners of the earth.
mm,
So the people that are listening to this, make sure that you're in the building. You can go to Eventbrite and get your tickets now. Under the event is called "The Universe is Conspiring." Look under Atlanta, of course. It should
mm,
pop up. The link is in my bio on IG. You can go and purchase your tickets. We will have live streaming. I'm situating all of that information in the next few days. So
mm.
that's June 30th. That's at the end of the month. Second year anniversary, I believe, is 2 years of the release of 444. So I'm gonna get into some numerology. So this is gonna be a cosmological, kabbalistic, numerological debunking of the fact that you think the universe is conspiring for your failure. The universe is conspiring for your success. If only you can see it with your own 2 eyes, or 3 eyes, or 4 eyes, or whatever you're looking at. So
I like that conversation. I like y'all even attempting to do that. You know what I mean? I mean, that's stepping on a lot of people's toes that make money off telling these niggas that, globals. I mean, you stepping on a lot of people's toes. You know what I mean? With that, because
we don't
what
tap dance on toes. So
you know what I mean? I mean, because the thing about it is, what happens to the people that got lectures, do lectures? What happens when the people not hurting no more?
yeah,
How you gonna get money if the people are confident? You have to come up with a new. You have to sell a new form of
like,
dope.
like you've been saying, like Adrice been saying, the conversation has to be around, you know, we have the genius of Elon Musk in our community. We have the genius of a Steve Jobs in our community. If only we would take time, to step back, open our eyes and see it for what it is. And we keep looking for the shit that's tragic. We keep looking for the trauma. We keep telling these same stories. You know what I mean? Instead of the victorious, vainglorious ones. Um, I did a video on Brother Rich channel about the Black Cowboys, uh,
Mm-hmm.
based on the whole narrative started by Little Nas X. I
Hmm.
got a chance to speak on John Ware and a bunch of other frontier men, melanated men,
Bass Reeves.
spoke about Anderson Willis. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And it blew people away. Like they had no idea.
Hmm.
So once again, salute to you for reprogramming this ongoing narrative about melanated greatness. Look, my mother says she watched the Black Godfather documentary 20 times, right? To figure out what the fuck did she miss in her lifetime when she never heard about this man.
Neither did I.
Never. We
Neither did
have
I.
been failed. Those children in Central Park are not the only ones that have been failed. We
Mm.
have been failed.
Mm.
Why is this not primary education? Why is this not part of Black history?
Mm.
He was born in
Be,
88.
because
88. He was born in the 30s. Why are we just now finding out about this man?
and he's dark skinned and he was moving
He
amongst.
made he king made 3 fucking presidents.
Hmm.
Melanated man. You know the conspiracy theory lectures I had to sit through about who was responsible for Barack Obama, and that one of these niggas ever said Clarence Avant.
Be so look, so let me tell you. So that's because of I did a Jay-Z video that I was talking about black genius and that we can't fathom black genius.
Nah, son.
The public,
Nah.
the public can't fathom black genius. We can't process that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard pill to swallow that a guy named Clarence Avant is running around and it you don't and look who he's doing business with. He said, "I don't got problems. I got friends. Man.
Got problems. I got
I
friends.
got friends,
That
important friends." And he's going into circles talking to white boys like, "Motherfucker, please."
motherfucker, please.
But
What
look,
I tell you.
look. So this is the thing, though. Mr. Glazer gamed him up in the game, so he inherited all his context. See, that's it. See,
He,
because we play
right.
this racial game so
He
much,
inherited grace and favor.
he inherited grace and favor. We
That
missed
and got
the
covered in it.
because we look. So I was just talking about this recently about what thug culture did was create these lines for niggas not to communicate no more. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Say LA, for example. You can't go over there across town, but that's where your mentor is that you need to meet. You
Hmm.
can't go over there and play an instrument. You can't go over there and do karate. You're forced to
No,
stay in.
you you
Look, look,
can't go over there and meet the shorty that has the egg for the star seed that you came here to flower because they got a gang injunction and you're gonna get your head blown off. So now you have created these fictional boxes that have put you
uh-huh,
in the area where your mating right options are marginalized to some shit
uh-huh.
that's about this big.
Not just mating, but in terms of networking with other like-minded people from out of your area. So it's gang shit, turf shit. Yo, dudes from Alabama are supposed to mate with women from Chicago. Women from Chicago supposed to mate with dudes from North Carolina. Dude, you know what I'm saying? That's how it goes. But what thug culture did in the last 40 years, it divided niggas based off special. So look, it's because when you are doing a legal activity, you don't get new friends. You exist in this small tribe of niggas you hustle with.
Small.
So this is an information opportunity. So for Blue, for the last 40 years, niggas have not spread information to each other for real.
Mm.
So the so-called square is not talking to the street dude. What Nipsey did with Idris, that was an anomaly. It doesn't usually go like that.
Nah, they eat them.
You know what I mean? You
They
don't
very
even come
eat 'em.
across them.
Yeah,
You
I
know what
mean, yeah. If that situation ever was to establish itself, then it normally ends very tragic.
I'm saying?
Right? The nigga ends up like Sharif, taking the
Mm-hmm.
book, standing next to
Mm-hmm.
the nigga, or they eat him.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. You know what I mean? He's too square. He looks like a motherfucking whopper.
Mm-hmm.
They end up eating him.
So
I mean, he look like
so
a Wendy's burger.
so what that did in the last 40, 45 years, bro, is just why you don't know about it. We don't know about a Clara
Yeah,
Savant. We don't
yeah.
know about a lot of important people because we have not been able to share information
It's
with each other because of these things.
it's the
I
same
can't
thing.
go over there. You can't come over here, my nigga. Don't come over. Fuck them niggas from the other side. What that does is it puts us. So now, say you live somewhere like Watts, where there's no resources, right? You know what I'm saying? You want to play an instrument, but the school is in Compton. You can't even go, B. So now you are denied the opportunity to expand your education.
Right. Because the nigga asked you where your granny from.
Hey son, wait, let me see your tie. Let me see your thigh tie, nigga. I
Yeah,
heard that
you better
before.
pull your shirt up.
Yeah, and call your mama, man.
Yeah.
What he said. He said, call your mama.
I'm from
You
where
know,
niggas read your tats. Actually, where your granny from. This is real shit.
you know. So
How you
that's
gonna
why we
grow
don't.
like that?
It's not just like that in the street culture. It's like that in the conscious community too. Like in every sector, niggas cannot communicate with each other
Oh no, they
because
still tripping.
woke niggas can't communicate with corporate people. The corporate niggas can't communicate with the streets. There's always some type of line there or why we can't share
Marginalization.
information.
Yeah.
And we do that with ourselves. So like for me, like the way I talk, I'm not black enough, so therefore I can't come over there. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't believe that I'm oppressed, instead of just someone disagreeing with that one thing, I'm a father. What about that? Let's agree on that. You want to agree with my disagree with my
Happy
thing.
Father's Day. You got a day coming up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this is why we don't know about Clarence Avant.
No, we don't.
You know what I
Maybe
mean?
that's what today is. Everybody ate off his plate. They ain't never spent no. They didn't spend no plate.
Hey, and I got a name for Mama Pill to look up too, bro.
Okay.
Alonzo Herndon.
Sound familiar.
One of these other ones that Alonzo Herndon. You should have fun with that name. Herndon is Herdon.
Yeah, right.
Alonzo
Yeah, I got it.
Alonzo Herndon.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of him before, huh?
It sounds familiar. It does sound familiar, but not off the top of the helmet. But we're gonna dig into that. We're gonna look into that. You know, so we're talking about because what you're talking about is set tripping. And it trickles onto the conscious community. If you're a Hebrew, you can't have a civil conversation with somebody that's a Sunni, you know what I mean, and walk away with newfound information that, you know, pretty much helps you in your path and your journey.
Mm,
Um, if you NOI, you shouldn't like what do you have to speak to a Nawubian about? So
mm,
there's and then, a lot of this shit is based on my teacher didn't get along with your teacher. You dig what I'm saying? So it's not even modern day. It's not even beef. This fresh. This is old. This is stale beef.
mm,
It's shit like that. So yesterday, news came out about a massacre that took place in Mali in the Dogon village.
mm,
And people were saying, "Oh, those are peaceful people. How did that happen?" They went to the conspiracy. Everything in the comments was about they. They. How did how did they do this to them? You know what I'm saying? Uh, uh, they killed the history, the orators of historical, the character. It was all of this. I did some research, and this was retribution. This was payback for allegedly for some murders that took place amongst the Fulani.
mm,
Somebody killed, or they're saying that the Dogon were responsible for killing upwards of 200 of the Fulani people. And they
mm,
set trip. They retaliated. They came back. They killed man, woman, child, children, babies, elderly. They wiped an entire village out. So, you know, I sat back and I was like, and as tragic as this particular story is, you know, our people, or the people on timelines, people that make up these particular vast audiences on social networks that we congregate with, who we don't really know, you know what I mean? We just share information and conversation with. They have a very hard time internalizing the notion that melanated people set trip for melanated people,
mm,
especially if they're from the continent. They have a very rosy idea of how African people deal with one another, even though, you know, in my lifetime in particular, there hasn't been a year that went by that I can think of where I haven't heard of some sort of mass massacre, wholesale slaughter, civil war, government led. put down of civilians, because this what's happening in the Sudan right now. You know, the people are being killed by their government, who are backed nonetheless by the Saudi Arabians and what have you. But the hands on those particular rifles, you know, the hands on those machetes, the penises going into the women and raping them are
Mhm.
still melanated.
Mhm.
You know, they're set tripping on one another based on power and politics. You know, I don't know what it is about people that think that these dynamics are not universal. You know what I mean? And these scenarios are not playing out all over the planet, regardless of skin tone. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's a very juvenile way to look at the world. You know what I'm saying? So,
The Black American was taught that they were righteous by nature. Also, it's something to look forward to of a Black utopia. It's something, and it's a level of also not basically not coming to terms with everything that's in the white man is in you too. You're capable of everything as he is, as an Asian man is. We don't want to accept that fact. We don't like that part of us because it's something to look forward to put it all on white people, right? Not knowing that we're a beast too. You know what I'm saying? Because you're in a human body, right? Being a spirit, having a human experience, this your human experience is primal. You know
primal.
what I'm saying?
You
You're
still got
you're
that reptilian part of you that
totally,
we all
totally,
have.
totally, and the only thing that can master biology is psychology. So in, let's say, in Black America, the institutions of higher learning don't teach self-control, and it doesn't teach how to think. It teaches what to think. Okay, so when something happens, we can only process it through a conspiracy theory lens or a they lens or some type of, you know what I'm saying? But when you study yourself, you know everybody's capable of anything. And we look at the world through a kumbaya perspective as if Black is benevolent, benevolent,
Benevolent, right?
benevolent.
Benevolent.
Yeah, I'm about to spit some bars. Yeah, all that, right? We think that though. You
Yeah,
know
I've
what I
been
mean?
listening to your music, man, on your openings, and I hope you're getting back in the booth with some narrative. We had this conversation before. I'm not gonna bring up our personal private conversations, but
Yeah, but with that, just real quick. So if I'm writing raps to change my life, right? So what I do is I think about a bunch of shit of where I want to go. Because I used to talk about death in my music. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think I was gonna be 30 years old and I put that in music. I don't think I'm gonna let it see 30. Somebody in my circle gonna do me real dirty. I had to come back and write some different shit. Like, oh,
and I was
you
saying
know,
that to say that you was kind of ahead of yourself. But yeah,
oh, totally. But the thing about it is, like as we talk about art and shit like this. So I must compare this to Ava DuVernay. The film and the theater were great, but it's the same thing we were talking about with John Singleton. In terms of imagination, what are your expectations? Because in virtual reality, life, I mean, art doesn't imitate life. Life imitates art. So what you create in those songs and what you create in those films, you are creating the world. Oh, of course you want to tell this story. Thanos would have been like, you know what? Erase it all. Because what you're doing is you're putting that into people's subconscious mind. Now, when they go to work the next day, this is what they're talking about. You got people, the narrative is this is what we go through. So now, guess what? The self esteem is dropped, the anxiety is up. The self-esteem has dropped. The self-improvement has dropped. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because now what? So look, so social media could look, it's so crazy. Social media could come together to try to the prosecutor to come on her helmet, right? What would it be like if social media came together for a week of fasting? A week of, you know what? No TV. See, it's easy to do that shit.
Or turn off your radio.
Or turn off your radio or something inside of personal development. But the thing, yo, bro, I was on my stick and I went to the urban section in the urban movies. Yo, I was scrolling down long as hell to find something heroic. Comedies, street shit. There's nothing there to create a world with, you know? There's nothing there to create a world, bro. So the story, first, I'm glad they got, yo, and let me say this, my nigga, only in America can you go through shit like that and get paid. So while we're talking about the system, like I heard somebody say, this devilish system. So does that mean they don't take the money? You don't want to take the money from the devil, right? And I think they're going at him for 50 million now on some other shit. But only in America, my nigga, can you go through bullshit like that. And you know what? They'll be like, fuck it. We ain't gonna tell you sorry, but we'll pay you. What I do? Let me raise my hand real quick. From 14 to 19, if I could have went to juvie and then it got 10 years later, I would have got 5 million, I'd have picked the juvie. I'm just saying. Only niggas say this shit like this, no matter how much money they get, you can't get that time. You's a fucking liar. You drop $1 billion on them right now, that shit was worth it. Fuck out of here. That's bullshit. You crazy as hell. People work 40 and 50 years just to retire at 65. That was worth, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, if you telling me I could go through that right there for my teens and I end up with 10 million, I'm signing up every time. Corey situation, not so much though.
I mean, you can't pick and choose, bro. Because there's
Nah,
some other brother situations.
no, I'm serious.
Gambling. You don't know what you're going. You rolling the dice. You don't know who you're going to end up.
But I'm saying it's 5 of them. 4 of them went to juvie. So the odds of me ending with Corey shit, I gotta roll the dice. I gotta roll the dice. I'm gonna end up with Raymond shit.
Them
But I'm
boys,
just saying,
they didn't stay in juvie.
I'm shit. I mean,
They started in juvie, but
they started.
they came home from motherfucking Auburn and or them other. They came home from what it looked like to me. Those was motherfucking penitentiaries. You only a juvie till you 16.
Yeah,
They went through the system. They transitioned in a whole nother way. I guess, their story wasn't one that was a compelling or storytelling as Corey was, but that's a whole nother
yeah,
situation.
it's a whole other situation. But but a lot of people to go back to the beginning, a lot of people fail those people. You know what I'm saying? Like I put
I
that shit
mean,
on the
yeah,
culture.
it's funny, that
The
was
culture
like
failed the
that
people.
was the same thing that I said. I was watching it with 19 and I was like, yo, I was like, the people failed them. You know what I'm saying? I think it might have hit me like when it was in court or something. Somewhere along that, I was just like, oh, the people felt them. And I'm like, you know, they're continuously failing these youth out here today because this is a self perpetuating story. And again, not because of the system, it's because we're preparing them for this.
Uh-huh.
And now we have a full-blown culture that I'm like, you know what I mean? And the children are softer today, getting thrown into these situations. We're just throwing them in the belly and then pointing fingers. I'm like, we didn't learn from this. And like I said, our generation grew up with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up with this shit. It didn't stop us from wilding. I'm talking about myself in particular and my set, my homies or what have you. We were running in packs with niggas that had hammers, ice picks, and razors.
Mm-hmm. You froze up, bro.